Hi guys, today is 29th October 2018 and this is Daily Current Affairs brought to you by New IAS. And our topics are Amur falcon, hill garlic, Vishakha guidelines, air quality index, and on map-aided program we have the Ramsar sites of the state, Jammu and Kashmir, and PQRS, that is previous question revision series. And our very first topic is the Amur falcon. And Amur falcon takes a stop in the various northeastern states during its travel from the Siberia to South Africa. So Amur falcon is a migratory species which travels from Siberia and towards the South Africa. While traveling across the route, it covers or it halts in the northeastern states. And a disputed village which is located between the Meghalaya and Assam, the name of the village is Umru. And the name of the village is Umru. Umru is a disputed village between the Meghalaya and Assam and has been visited by these particular Amur falcons during 2010. The Umru-Tisro area is a relatively recent pit stop for the Amur falcons. So Amur falcons is a migratory species which usually migrate from Siberia towards the southern Africa, and it moves across, a flock of Amur falcons moves across India, which halts in a particular place called Umru, which is a disputed village between the Meghalaya and Assam. And also the Umru-Tisro area is a relatively recent place of start for the Amur falcons. So we need to focus on what is Amur falcon. Amur falcon is a relatively small raptor. It is a raptor of the falcon family. It is a falcon and it is also a raptor. And they feed mainly on insects. The main food of Amur falcons are insects. And while on migrations, they eat dragonflies. Also the conservation status for Amur falcons is the least concerned category. And it breeds in the southeastern Siberia and northern China, and it moves to the southern Africa. While after the breeding, they move from the Siberia to the southern Africa. It moves across the India and over the Arabian Sea. So the Amur falcons breeds in the southeastern Siberia and the northern China, and before migrating in large flocks across the India and over the Arabian Sea to South Africa. And these Amur falcons will be in the South Africa during the winter season. And the Dongyang Lake in the Nagaland is a better site for the stopover of the Amur falcons. So our first news was about Amur falcons. And Amur falcon is a small raptor in the falcon family, and the conservation status of Amur falcon is the least concern, and they breeds in the Siberia and northern China and migrates to the southern Africa through India. And Dongyang Lake of Nagaland is a better site for the better halting site for the Amur falcons in India. Okay, this is the Amur falcon. And our next news is about hill garlic. Recently, the Kerala Agricultural University, KAU, has decided to promote the hill garlic variety because this variety is at the verge of extinction. The Kerala Agricultural University is declared or decided to promote the hill garlic variety because it is on the verge of extinction. And the hill garlic is a garlic grown in the hills of Kantallur and Vattavada areas of Idukki district, which is a district in Kerala. So it is a garlic grown in the hills of Idukki districts in the Kerala. And the main features of hill garlic is that its unique flavor and also the pungent taste and also medicinal properties. One of the notable feature of hill garlic is that the increased or longer shelf life. This variety have a longer shelf life and it is locally called as the Malay Pundu. It is locally called as Malay Pundu, and one of the disadvantages of this particular crop is the long crop duration. So these were traditionally cultivated in the hilly regions of Idukki, but because of its long crop duration, the tribals are moving away from this regional variety and they are now trying the hybrid varieties which have a short crop duration. So in order to promote this hill garlic, which is at the verge of extinction, Kerala Agricultural University is promoting the particular variety. And the university is also trying to get a geographical indication status for this Kantallur garlic. And Kantallur garlic is a variety of this hill garlic. So the news is about hill garlic. And the Kerala Agricultural University is promoting the hill garlic, which is at the verge of extinction, and it is found in the hilly regions of Idukki district such as Kanthallu and Vattavada, and it is famous for its longer shelf life and long crop duration. And because of the long crop duration, the tribals are moving away from this hilly garlic and they are cultivating the hybrid varieties of garlic. And for promoting this particular kind of garlic, Kerala Agricultural University also trying to obtain the geographical indication status for the garlic. And our next news is about Vishakha guidelines. This is in news because the Supreme Court to hear a PAL petition regarding the extension of Vishakha guidelines to religious institutions. So, Supreme Court to hear a PAL in order to increase the extension or extending Vishakha guidelines to various religious institutions, where earlier religious institutions was not under the purview of Vishakha guidelines. And the Vishakha judgment was an offshoot of the rape case in which a social worker was involved. And the judgment, the case is called the Vishakha versus the state of Rajasthan, in which a social worker was involved. And the guidelines is mainly intended to tackle the issue of harassment of women at the workplace. So, this is the guidelines was mainly intended to tackle the issue of the sexual harassment of women at the workplace. And it can be considered as the pinnacle of judicial activism. Based on this case, Supreme Court made various recommendations, and these can be considered as a pinnacle of the judicial activism. Supreme Court recommended the Vishakha guidelines in the year 1997, and recently or in 2013, the Parliament made a law based on the guidelines of the Vishakha, and the law is called as the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act in 2013. And based on the Vishakha guidelines, the safe working environment for women is considered as a fundamental right, and court also recommended to form a complaints committee at every workplace. It should be headed by a woman and half of its members must be women. So, Vishakha guidelines is about tackling the issue of sexual harassment of women at workplace, and the judgment or the Vishakha guidelines was held in the 1997. Based on these Vishakha guidelines, an act was passed in the year 2013, and the name of the act was the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prohibition, Prevention and Redressal Act 2013. And the case for Vishakha guidelines is the Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan. And in Vishakha guidelines case, the Supreme Court held that the safe working environment for women is a fundamental right, and also it recommended to create a complaints committee at every workplace which should be headed by a woman, and half of its members should be women only. And our next news is Air Quality Index. Recently, the air quality in Delhi, our capital city, became very poor at an air quality index of 366. And the air quality index is a tool for effective communication of air quality status to people. So, it is a tool for the effective communication of air quality to the people. And the air quality index counts complex air components or complex components of air quality into a single number and also a single nomenclature and single color. So, we can just check what are the nomenclature. The air quality index based on values and levels of health concern. In green, it is from 0 to 50. The green color and the value air quality index is from 0 to 50. It is considered as good. But when it comes to yellow, and the yellow varies from 51 to 100, and the pollution level is considered as the moderate. And the next color is orange. It is 101 to 150, and it is considered as unhealthy for the sensitive groups. Next color is the red, in which the health is considered as, or the condition or levels of health concern is the unhealthy. So, if we are breathing and having air quality index between 150 to 200, our health is considered to be unhealthy, or it's unhealthy for us. And the next color is the purple, and purple is from 201 to 300, and it is considered to be very healthy to our environment or our health. And the next final color is 301 to 500, that is the maroon, and maroon is considered as hazardous to our health. And the air quality index is very easy to find out because it is very simplified in manner. Even a common man can find out by using the terminology one number, one color, one description. And one number which indicates the air quality, and one color in which the air quality or the particular number resides, and one description. And it is launched by the air quality index is launched by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in 2014. And we need to focus on the 8 important pollutants that are part of the air quality index. The main and the first one is the PM10 or particulate matter 10 micrometers or less in diameters. PM10 is nothing but the particulate matter having diameter less than 10 micrometers. And next one is the PM2.5, particulate matter having diameter less than 2.5 micrometers. And nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and O3 ozone, ammonia and lead. These are the 8 primary pollutants by which, or calculating this average of these particular pollutants, we are calculating the air quality index. And we are taking air quality index for a time of 24 hours. And the primary issue faced by Indian cities is the PM2.5, which is particulate matter 2.5, the particulate matter that are smaller than the 2.5 microns size. And this PM2.5 causes various respiratory illness. And our news was about the air quality index. This was in news because the Delhi reported poor air quality or very poor air quality having an index of 366. And this air quality index is developed by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It follows a pattern of one number, one color, one description. And the 8 major pollutants which are calculated in the air quality index are PM10, PM2.5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia and lead. And our next session is the map aided program. And today we have the Ramsar sites of Jammu and Kashmir, and they are 4 in numbers. And the first one is Vular Lake. This is the Vular Lake, and the Vular Lake is declared as a Ramsar site in 1990. And a notable feature of the Vular Lake is that it is the largest freshwater lake in India. It is the largest freshwater lake in India, and it is mainly formed due to the tectonic activities. The Vular Lake is formed due to the tectonic activities, and we also already learned that the Vular Lake is fed by the river Jhelum. So, Vular Lake, this is the Vular Lake. Vular Lake is declared as a Ramsar site in the year 1990 and is the largest freshwater lake in India, formed mainly due to the tectonic activity, and the lake is fed by the river Jhelum. And our next is the Hokkera wetland. Hokkera wetland is declared as a wetland in year 2005, and it is a natural perennial wetland. It is a natural perennial wetland, and the Hokkera wetland is also fed by the Jhelum river, and is also fed by the Jhelum river. So these two, Vular and Hokkera wetlands, are fed by the Jhelum river. And the third one is Somoriri. Somoriri is declared as a Ramsar site in the year 2002, and it is a freshwater to brackish water lake. Somoriri is a freshwater to brackish water lake, and a point to be noted is that it is the only breeding site of black-necked crane, or more specifically we could say it is the breeding site of black-necked crane outside China, or the only breeding site of black-necked crane outside the China. And the Somoriri have some endemic species such as great Tibetan sheep and Tibetan wild ass. Great Tibetan sheep and Tibetan wild ass are the endemic species to the Somoriri lake. And the final one is the Surinsar-Mansar lakes. Surinsar-Mansar lakes are declared as the Ramsar site in 2002, and they are twin lakes. They are twin lakes, as the name suggests, they are twin lakes, and they have a religious importance, also a mythological importance, because these names are related to Mahabharata. And this is Surinsar-Mansar lake and Somoriri and Surinsar-Mansar lakes. And our final session is the PQRS, that is previous question revision series. Today we have a question from the 2011 prelims, which is from the environment portion. Consider the following statements. Biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes as compared to the higher latitudes. And along the second statement, along the mountain gradients, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower altitudes compared to the higher altitudes. So which statements given above is or are correct. A 1 only, B 2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. So, the question is mainly focused on two words. One is the latitude and other is the altitude. Latitude and altitude. When it comes to the first statement, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes compared to the higher latitudes. The statement is right because biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes because the lower latitudes have more rainfall, more sunlight and all. So, the favorable conditions for living is in the lower latitudes. Thus, the biodiversity will be higher in the lower latitudes. We can compare India and the polar region, North Pole. India is in lower latitude, whereas the polar regions is in the higher latitude. More biodiversity will be in the lower latitudes because of the favorable cases of sunlight and rainfall. So, the statement 1 is absolutely right. And about the statement 2, along the mountain gradients, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower altitudes compared to higher altitudes. So, here we are comparing the altitudes. In case of lower altitudes, we have the favorable conditions of temperature, pressure. In the lower altitudes, the temperature will be moderate and it won't be extreme cold. And the pressure will be moderate, and as the height increases, the pressure will decrease. So, the decrease in pressure is not a favorable condition for the biodiversity. And also, we need to focus on a point that the rivers are flowing from the higher latitude to lower latitude. Thus, on coming from the higher latitude to lower latitude, it transports a high number of the nutrients, and these nutrients are settled in the lower latitudes. As an example, we can take in the case of Ganga or Ganges. In the case of Ganga, the river originates from higher latitudes and it mainly deposits nutrients in the valley, which is a lower latitude. We know that the Ganga valley is one of the most fertile lands in India. Thus, in case of mountain gradients also, the biodiversity will be diverse or biodiversity will be higher in the lower latitudes because of the favorable conditions of nutrition, temperature, pressure and sunlight. Sunlight is also a fact. And so, the statement 2 is also right. The answer is C, both 1 and 2. So, by this class, we have covered all the Ramsar sites in India. So, you need to focus on the Ramsar site. You will be having questions in the coming Sunday's exam regarding this Ramsar site. After the immense success of our previous year CAP, we are also planning to include or start the CAP session in the November 5. CAP means Current Affairs Plus, and we have covered all the portions of the particular daily current affairs sessions in the CAP session, and we follow a holistic approach in case of the CAP, where you will get the entire material of current affairs with the detailed explanations and classes. So, the CAP will start from November 5th and you can join the CAP either online or offline. That's all for today. You can download the material which is available in the description section. Thank you so much. Good night.